Hi there, today I'm going to show you how to make a quick and easy card using the new Scalloped Tag Topper Punch. This card uses some new items from the Celebrate the Everyday mini catalog. It goes from January 3rd through June 1st, 2014. To get started, we're going to use a card base of Summer Starfruit, and this is 8.5 by 5.5, and it's scored down the middle at 4 1/4. We're also going to use some designer series paper. This color is Gumball green, and you get 4 different patterns with each of the 5 in colors. I used this one on the sample that I showed at the beginning, but I'm going to use this one for the card that we're making right now. This is cut 2.5 by 4 1/4, and you're just going to add adhesive around all the edges. Line up your card base to the grid paper, and this will help you line up your designer series paper. So I'm just lining it up to one of the lines on the grid paper, and I'm just going to follow that across the card and press that down. I'm going to add a little bit of paper piercing across the top and the bottom of the paper. So we're going to use the foam mat. Open up your cardstock. We're going to use this piercing template. I like to line up this solid image here to the top of the paper. And then I'm checking the end of the paper and the score line here to make sure the holes are centered. And you simply start piercing. So just poke straight down. And every once in a while just check the placement, because as you're piercing sometimes it shifts out of position, so you might need to readjust. And then we're going to repeat that across the bottom. This is the new Scalloped Tag Topper Punch, and the paper I have is cut 2 inches by 4 1/4, and you're simply going to slide this in and press it down, and you have a decorative topper to your tag. Next, we're going to use a stamp set called Simple Stems, and I'm going to use these 2 images here for the tag. I'm going to use scrap Whisper White cardstock, Summer Starfruit, and this is the largest flower from the Simple Stems set, and I'm going to tap it, and then you're going to press on your Whisper White cardstock and press firmly to make sure you get a nice solid image. Now I just cut this out so it's easier to handle, and we're going to use our paper snips to trim around the edge. It's a little easier to trim if you don't cut exactly on the image, and it's a little more forgiving. You don't really notice the imperfections. And if you can hold your scissors kind of steady and turn your cardstock, you'll get less choppy start and stop lines. I'm not going to glue this down just yet, but I want to set it for placement so I know where to stamp my stem. We're going to use Gumball green, which is the same color of the designer series paper. This right here is the top of my stem, so I can line up the foam right to where I want that to be, and I'm going to have this a little bit at an angle. So once I get this where I think I want to stamp it, I'm going to scoot that out of the way to make sure I don't accidentally get green ink on there. We're going to pop this up with Dimensionals. And then this is where you can kind of angle it and see how you want your flower to be. And then press that down. We're going to add a little silver ribbon right at the top. And I'm going to slip this in through the opening at the top of the tag. It's probably about 4.5 inches. And you're going to keep it folded as you make a loop. And then you're going to push the ends through that opening, and you're going to slide this knot that you've created, make sure it stays close to the bottom so it ends up at the top of that tag, and just keep pulling this until you get it tight. And then you can trim this. We're going to stamp a greeting at the very bottom using a stamp set called Lacy Lovely. We're going back to Summer Starfruit. We're going to add dimensionals to the back of the tag and then layer that to the front of the card. I'm going to add a skinny dimensional right across that ribbon just to keep that in the right spot so it doesn't shift and move out of position, so that way it'll stay right there. And I'm going to place my tag at an angle and layer that down. I want to add 2 more silver elements to the card, so I'm going to punch out a butterfly from our silver glimmer paper, and we're going to use the bitty butterfly punch. We're going to add a tiny little bit of dimensional on each of the wings, but I'm not going to pull off the backing, and you'll see why. So we're going to place one right there, and then one on the other one. So we have a little dimensional on each wing. We're going to fold this in half. Now the paper backing is still on there, so it's not sticky. We're going to add this with a glue dot. So just press that to the glue dot, and then you can see the glue dot is larger than the middle of the butterfly, so I'm just going to fold it onto itself, and we're going to add this right about here. And the last thing I want to add is a little rhinestone to the center of the flower, and I'm going to use the medium size. You just lift that up with your pokey tool and then just place it and press that down. I wanted to show you a couple of other cards using this same design but different colors. This is the original one using Gumball Green and Summer Starfruit, and I did the same card using Raspberry Ripple, and another one using Midnight Muse. We're going to stamp the inside to match. We're going to go back to our stem in Gumball Green, and we're just going to add it right about here. Now I don't want a giant flower on the inside, so I'm going to use one of the smaller images from this stamp set. We're going to ink this up in Summer Starfruit and just stamp that right down. Just add your adhesive around the edges and layer that in. And we're going to stamp the envelope to match. So there you go, pretty quick and easy card using some new items from the Celebrate the Everyday mini catalog. If you have any questions about this project or you'd like to see more ideas, you can visit my blog at KeenanCreations.com. Thanks and have a great day.